What's up, guys? The mailbag is back. Friday, November 20th. I'm here inside the Bellator Fight Sphere, wrapping up. Finally, the Bellator back-to-back stint is over, and I've selected 3 questions to answer before I depart here to head back home to Massachusetts. And the first one is pertaining to a matchup that we were supposed to see in December. It doesn't seem like it's going to happen now, but Kowski asks, Colby versus Jorge going to happen? I don't have any insider information on this at this time. Sorry, I should do better, be better. But my read on it is, could these guys be the coaches for the Ultimate Fighter? Could this be the delay? I mean, the UFC had Masvidal versus Diaz set. They tabled that plan, pushed it aside to do the Covington fight, the grudge match, the bad blood fight that has stakes in the 170-pound division. Both these guys are still at the top despite the recent losses. So could those be the coaches for TUF? I think that is an avenue the UFC should explore if they're trying to make the Ultimate Fighter as relevant as possible, to get people to tune in, to see the bad blood between 2 former friends that really don't like each other and have very, very interesting outward personalities. So that's what I'm hoping for. I don't have any update on the fight, unfortunately, but we can keep our fingers crossed that it happens, because I think now's the time. Question number 2 comes from my buddy over at Tapology, Blaine Henry. Blaine wants to know, does Rose Namajunas have a chance should she fight Valentina Shevchenko? Of course she has a chance. I think in this scenario that you laid out, she'd probably be a champion. She probably would have defeated Zhang Weili to get this type of matchup. But if we're just talking about this fight in general, like if these two were to just, for whatever reason, all reasoning aside, were to step in there tomorrow and fight, I would favor Valentina. I think the fact that she had so much success at bantamweight really shows you how much she's able to match up strength-wise with fighters at 135 and speed-wise with fighters at 125. So I think it would be a really tough fight for Rose. I know Rose's whole thing, her career, she's been counted out numerous times and proved people wrong. So I'm not counting her out by any means, but I just think Valentina's on the next level. I think if you were to do super fights, Amanda's number 1. She'd beat Valentina probably if they were to rematch, but Valentina's striking is so good. She's so well-rounded. I think she would be bigger than Rose and maybe even faster. So I'm definitely leaning that the bigger fighter would win in this case. I know that's not always what ends up playing out. Maybe it's bias based on weight, but that's just the way I would see that fight going down. Appreciate the question, Blaine. Final question marks a first for the MMA Junkie Twitter mailbag. It is a fighter question, and by that I don't mean a question about a fighter. I mean a question sent in by a fighter. Dana White's Contender Series this past Tuesday, main event participant, flyweight Jacob Silva was submitted by JP Bays in very controversial fashion. As Silva was fighting out of a submission, about 5 seconds left, referee Mark Goddard made a very bad call and waved off the fight. Silva was not out. He made it very clear after that. Dana White said that it wasn't a great call. I think everybody's kind of in agreement that Mark made a mistake in this instance. But Jacob sent in a question about his fight. So he said, which do you think is the best answer? Restarting my fight at the second round since 6 seconds was left, or restarting it in the submission I was in? If they were to have used instant replay, that's a big caveat to my answer. If they were to have used instant replay, I think they would have had to put you back in that position for 6 seconds. But they didn't use instant replay. So I think the fight should have been resumed much differently than the 2 scenarios you laid out. I think Dana should have assigned you both. Why punish either guy for a referee's blunder? I mean, it's not your fault that the referee made a mistake. It's not JP's fault that the referee made a mistake. So give you both contracts, put you both in their UFC, rematch it a couple months from now. And that's what I would have done. And people have been wondering when Dana's going to do this thing where he gives out a contract to a loser, potential fight of the night. Oh, I'm going to give the loser a contract too. He had a perfect scenario in order to do that, a very justifiable scenario to give the loser and the winner a contract. But I'm not Dana White, and he is bringing you back, Jacob, as he said in the post-fight press conference. So I guess you have something to hang your hat on, and I think everybody's excited to see you return, man. Appreciate the question, and I appreciate everyone's questions this week. It's been great. The response week in and week out has been awesome. So keep it up, guys. Until next time, keep it locked, MMA Junkie.